Hi, my name is Brian Nowac. I'm the founder and I'm the CEO of Magicbox. And I'm here to talk to you today less about that super academic science behind color and more about the application of it. And really, what I'm here to talk about is returning production back to the artistry that it once was, particularly for you guys. And that was really what motivated the development of the Magicbox Super Studio, which is the world's first mobile virtual production stage. So to just give you a little background, like many of you, back in 2020 in COVID, I was bored watching TV and I stumbled across the behind the scenes of The Mandalorian, and I saw something that made sense to me that really brought every aspect of my entire career together into one singular point. It just made sense, and that's this LED volume that we saw here that ILM built down at Manhattan Beach Studios. I've spent 25 years in the industry. I live up in San Francisco. I've owned agencies, production companies, animation studios, software development companies. I've invented hardware technologies, and I've worked with a lot of big tech companies. And again, everything I saw here just clicked. It made sense to me. So I wanted to deliver this technology all around the Bay Area and eventually the United States. So I started making some phone calls, and I realized quickly that for me to build a volume this size, or what I wanted to do was actually much bigger, it was going to cost me about $30 to $50 million. That wasn't going to work. So I had to start thinking differently. I mentioned I had an advertising agency. Samsung was a client. I started thinking about all the different technologies they released and how they advanced and innovated. And two elements kept popping up. One was miniaturization and one was mobilization. And I thought these two things apply to this situation that I'm in. If I miniaturize the technology down to the smallest variables that still actually have relevance and have value, it's going to be cheaper to build. And if I mobilize it, it can go anywhere the work needs to go. And that just made sense. And if you all look in your pockets, you have a perfect example of that. This used to be a giant mainframe computer in a basement, and now it's in your pocket and it goes with you wherever you go. So these are the same principles I used designing Magicbox. Now, I'm not doing it alone. We've been working in partnership with all sorts of technology companies that are working in the virtual production space to deliver a complete platform that just makes sense for virtual production. And what our goal is not about making it hard or complicated or slow. Our goal is to make it something that can be used over and over again with predictable results easily by anybody. So that's what we're working towards. And the reason we're working towards that is we want to have you guys focus less on the technology. We want that to be invisible, to be in the background, and have you be able to focus more on the artistry of your craft and what you're trying to do. Because what I believe is we are heading into the next digital renaissance, in which you're going to be able to recapture that artistry of your craft that has perhaps started to get slowly stripped away from you because of technology up to this point. So this is Magicbox. It transforms from a semi-trailer into an LED studio in 45 minutes. It's 52 feet long, it weighs 52,000 pounds, and it can be delivered just about anywhere, from a warehouse, to a soundstage, to a parking lot, to the street in front of your house. It comes with a crew of 3 who will transform the truck for you, power it up, and have you ready to go, and again, in 45 minutes. There is a fully functioning LED volume inside that's camera motion tracked. And if you were to build that volume here in the studio or in this warehouse, it would probably take a crew of 5 to 10 people, about 5 to 10 days, and about $250,000 to build. 45 minutes. So last summer we had our prototype released. We went to Stargate Studios. We worked with Sam Nicholson to just figure out how the thing worked and what it was good for. And after several different test shoots and spending lots of time in the truck all summer long, Sam will tell you that there's no setup he's ever seen that can be built, shot in, and torn down, struck in a single production day. There's just nothing else like it. So what is Magicbox good for? Well, let's take a look at some of the footage that you can capture inside. So this first clip was something we shot last summer with Sam. This is a 4.5-page script, 2-person dialogue. There it is. There's some shots from the inside. Just one set piece. We got plates that were shot at Catalina. the day before. We put them up inside the wall. Shot this scene. We did 6 different setups, 3 full reads with 2 cameras from each setup. Shot all that, about 180 minutes of footage. And this, by the way, is uncolor corrected. This is untreated. This is just raw, so don't be too critical on the creative. It's just to prove a point. But with setup of the truck, shooting all that, and strike, 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's a full production day to capture that much coverage. We got it done in 2 hours and 45 minutes. So you can just see the cost and the time efficiency that virtual production can create. Add to that the fact that we could just roll up into the parking lot and shoot this in 45 minutes of setup time. So it's extremely efficient. Now to get even more efficient, this scene right here, I was doing a demo just like we're doing right now. I had a DP who came in, walked through the demo, and he said, hey, do you mind if I grab my camera and just grab a few shots? I said, sure. He grabs his camera out of the car, he walks in. We spent about 5 minutes just tweaking the lights just to get them like to a place that he was comfortable. And then he spent about 5 minutes with the DSLR camera. There he is, right on cue, shooting this sequence. Now it's uncolor corrected, it's untreated. This is just right out of the camera. This is 10 minutes worth of work. 10 minutes. 55 minutes if you included setup time. That's a tremendous capability, tremendous cost savings. And we can enable that anywhere you want to produce content. Okay. So is anyone interested in looking inside? Could I get like 3 of you to come up here really quick? Hold on. Any 3 is fine. Come on up. Okay. So, welcome to Magicbox.
Welcome to Magicbox.
Come on up really close. Now, tell me what you feel.
It's cool.
He's not talking about what it looks like. It's literally cool because there's 12,000 BTUs of air conditioning pumping inside. It's very nice, cool, and comfortable inside. Can we switch the camera feed over here, please? So we do have the camera, this red Komodo camera giving you a live feed of our scene inside. This is, the workflow we're in right now here is driving plates or video playback running through Pixera. These are driving plates that were produced by drivingplates.com. We're in the desert here in Vegas. It's very easy. Oh, is that better? Yeah. Perfect. So it's very easy to jump through different scenes and setups when you're working inside Magicbox because there's some very specific features we built in to do that. And afterwards, you guys are all going to be able to come up and look inside or even go inside if you want, but I'll show you some of them right now. So for starters, we want to jump from scene to scene. It doesn't take very long. And just like that, we are now on the Bay Bridge in San Francisco. But you'll notice if you look at the camera, it's a little overexposed, so I'm going to make some adjustments here really quick. Just dial it down. That's obviously stuff you guys would do. But we also note that the car is not in alignment with our plate. But we can fix that. We've put in a lot of very specific features for car process to make it easy, fast, and efficient. So stand by 1 second. So with a quick press of a button, our motorized turntable floor can rotate the car or the entire set either direction you want. It can go at 3.5 revolutions per minute. It can go all the way down to barely turning. You could do an endless walk and talk scene on it if you wanted. These doors open up. We have 2 car ramps that can be set up by 2 grips. In about 5 minutes, we can drive this car out, pull another one in. 10 minutes time, you're back inside with a different car, different setup, ready to go. So pretty fast, pretty efficient. I'm going to point out some of the things you see here. We have 3 LED walls and an LED ceiling. All of them, including the ceiling, are 1.3 pixel pitch. So that's 4K resolution all the way across the board. The back wall is 22 feet long, 10 feet tall. The side walls are 16 feet 10 inches tall, or long by 9 feet 10 inches tall, so it's true 16 by 9. The interior volume is 21 feet by 24 feet. by 10 feet tall. The LED ceiling can be raised and lowered. So normally if we were doing a car process shot like this, we would lower it all the way down to get really nice coverage on the hood and the glass of the car. I don't want to bump my head on it today though, so it's a little bit taller than normally it would be. We have two workflows. I'm going to show you one more scene just so you can see something special inside. So really quickly, we jump from the Bay Bridge to the Vegas Strip. I'm going to dial the car around to get in alignment again. Super easy to control. So here we are driving down the Vegas Strip. Let's brighten things up just a skosh. Now, one of the key things you'll note is we have 3 of KINO FLO's new mimic image projecting lights. They're on here giving basically pixel mapped imagery projected onto the car for added reflections, onto the actor with added reflections. There's no other lighting going on in here, so it's a little bit dark. We could probably add a little bit more. You guys would probably do that. But you see how quickly we can go from 3 different scenes, 3 different angles. We haven't changed the lights, we haven't changed the camera, we just rotated our set. So super fast and efficient going from setup to setup to setup. And I don't think any of you could think of a faster way to shoot on the Vegas Strip. Now, we have a static camera here, but imagine if you picked up that camera and started floating around the car. This is where that artistry comes back into play. You can't do that on a car process trailer. You don't have that control with a MoCo controller that you do when you pick it up with your hands, and it's now, the camera's acting the way you want it to act in your hands. That's happening in real time. The director can't walk up to the talent and talk with them or stand right next to them and talk to them. The drivers don't see the world around them if you're shooting in poor man's process. This is the best creative solution for this type of production. Now, as I was mentioning before, we have 2 workflows we support. This is video playback through Pixera. It's a standardized workflow. But we also have Unreal Engine workflows, which is the virtual environments you all hear about. So I'm going to show you that really quickly. So just like that, we switched from video playback to Unreal Engine playback. We are in a virtual environment. This is a 3D world. You can navigate around through this world, find any kind of shot or setup you want. It takes seconds to do that. We're going to stay in this one really quick so I can show you a few things. First off, I'm going to back up so we can see those headlights. All right. Okay, first things first, how many people have actually been inside an LED volume before? You guys all know what a frustum is? Okay, frustum is like, for those of you who don't, frustum is like a picture-in-picture on your TV. The inner frustum is what is getting rendered at a higher rate. So when you move the camera, you can get a parallax effect, which you can't get with video. You can only get that in real life, but you can do that here. So you're not going to be able to see it now because we don't really have a wide enough range, but I'm going to try to move it fast. You can see that blue bar. That's the edge of the frustum, which I left a little small so we could see it in this demo. We can also roll the focus on the lens, and not only will it change our focus in the real world, but for those of you who can see back here, it also changes the focus of that inner frustum on the wall. So these are all working in lock sync with each other. Now, whoops, hit the exposure. Now, imagine if you had a day where you had to do 10 pickup shots or 10 insert shots in 10 different locations with 10 different cars and 10 different actors. Normally, would you try to plan that in one production day? No, of course not. But now you can. I mean, in 5 minutes, I just went through 4 different scenes very, very quickly and efficiently. Obviously, you can spend more time lighting them, but you could spend a full hour in each one of those environments in a 12-hour productions day and still have time for setup and strike. That's pretty much it for my demo. Does anybody have any questions? Front row. So you have lots of control. I'm going to jump back Thank you for coming up. I really just wanted you to feel the cool breeze and get a little relief from the heat. Let me switch back because it's a little bit easier to see when we're in one of the other video playback environments. Okay, so in terms of control, we actually have a great deal of control. It's not as robust as a color correction piece of software like a DaVinci Resolve or Blackmagic, anything like that, but it is pretty significant in what you can do in Pixera. So there's different types of filters that can be drag and dropped. You can do color correction on the fly in the actual software. It is not proprietary, by the way. It's a standardized workflow. And let me see, I got my glasses on here. I can just go down and select. Let's select something. If I select the main wall, there, turning it on and off. This does have a quick stitch that we blended together several different shots. This was all shot on a 9-camera array, nodal array. But let's say we want to raise our horizon line, which is a common request with video plates. So just like that, I was able to move it, change the transforms. I don't know, can you guys see that? Did you guys see that movement? I'll go back down again. So positioning adjustment, really super quick. If we want to do something with the visual, the color, let's say I want to crunch the blacks a little bit. Can make a quick adjustment there. You can see it over on the monitor over here. If I want to brighten it back up, you can do that. So there's lots of different controls. You can kind of see all the different transforms you have over here. They're a little bit different in terms of where to find them and how to find them. There's filters, there's different applications you can apply to the footage, different LUTs you can apply to the footage. That's all in the software. But it's not the only place you can control things like color or positioning or scale. We can also jump over directly to our image processors, which are right here. And let me show you. Okay, so for example, we have the main wall. I can bring that up here, and if you guys, can we switch over to the camera feed over here? So it's looks fairly blue. If I want to blow it out, I can blow it out. I want to darken it up, I can darken it up. So we can start to control different elements of it in different ways. And I think the other groups that are going to come up today are going to show you even more about how to use these. But each one of these layers, each one of these pieces of software, you can add LUTs to, you can control things in different ways.
So does the Pixera software and the processor software support console integration? Like, does it accept lighting protocols in so that we can control that from a lighting console?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer, but luckily, Megapixel, they're going to be coming up later today, and they can talk specifically about how that can be done.
Okay, so then
but apparently the answer is yes.
Okay, so we have to use the Pixera media server. Like, is there a way to integrate a third-party media server into this?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, there's just a giant computer stack inside here. So the full brain bar control room is inside the truck. It's right up in the front there. All the compute render nodes are there running this whole wall. So you could add software any way you want. The trucks do come with an operator who can get in there and actually do IT functions. And we deliver the trucks with a control book so you actually know how the whole thing's configured. It's not recommended because, again, for us, this is a solution that you want to use for very specific things. And what I showed you, I think, is a great example. Two people having a conversation, a quick dialogue sequence. I mean, at the end of the day, that's 65% of what we're shooting anyhow. Our action sequences to bring two people together to have a conversation. So that shot in the medium, shot in the close, that's great. Car process, that's kind of the perfect value add for us because it's that two-person having a conversation inside of a moving car. We make it fast, efficient, and safe. You could add new workflows. It's just if you're going to start getting more complicated there.
Well, I mean, a lot of the car process stuff that I do involves putting white bars or black bars, or you're blurring half the image, or you're, So
We
how
can do
does
all
that,
that.
if we so if we wanted to put like black out half of the wall or put up a white bar and have it pass in time with the video,
Yep.
that's easy to do with the Pixma software?
We can do lots of different things there. So whether we do it in Pixera or whether we do it in the Helios or the Megapixel, it depends on what you want to do, what we would do, but you can do that. We can actually control the KINO FLO mimic lights in the same way. We can make those full white. We can turn them on and turn them off. So you have lots of different ways to control those things and add those elements that you would want to add.
Okay, so some of that's a question for Pixera then, like how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a full Pixera demo,
Yeah,
but
cool.
yes, that's part of that. And again, it comes with an operator to do that for you. Next person with a question, I think you had one.
What's the size of your revolving stage, and realistically, how big of a vehicle can you put in there?
That's a great question.
59 Cadillac?
I don't know the exact dimensions of a 69 Cadillac, but I can tell you this. The turntable is 14 feet in diameter, so any car or vehicle that has a wheelbase 14 feet or less will fit. The turntable weight capacity is rated at 7,500 pounds. I know for a fact it will support more, but we rate it at 7,500 pounds for safety. The average Cadillac Escalade is about 6,000 pounds, if it gives you a reference point. Again, you have 21 feet from sidewall to sidewall and 24 feet from back wall to this wall. And the LED ceiling will go all the way up, so you have a clearance of 8.5 feet underneath. So you could get a Cadillac Escalade or equivalent inside here in terms of, I think, the largest type vehicle you would like to put inside. Oh, we got it right. Okay, if anybody has more questions, come find me later on today. We'll also have a panel at the end of the day I can answer more questions. Thank you all for your time. Enjoy the rest of the show.